Welcome to the Operating System Migration Approach for Tatos Incorporation. My name is Keith Beard. I'm a DT CCIT support for the Tatos Incorporation. I'd like to thank Vishal Ladwa from the Power On Platforms Consultant and Matthew Seddon from Solution Sales Specialist for support in this presentation. Our agenda is going to be an overview of the migration, why we justified going to the Windows we did, why move to Windows 10, how we're going to do it, and the planning for the Windows 10 environment. We looked at 10 alternate operating systems. Most of these are not recommended for mainstream usage. Some of them could be used in a virtual machine environment. This decision was based upon several factors. One is technical support, updates and device management, commonality of universal applications, the touch and feel, security, and the ability to run virtual desktops. In the 10 systems we looked at, Linux comes in many different flavors. Ubuntu Mint is one of them. That is common, but not a good environment fit for what we have here at Taters. Chrome OS we've looked at, but it's really not a general purpose operating system. Instead, it's designed to be pre-installed on specialized laptops known as Chromebooks. We looked at Steam OS, another Linux distribution that includes some of the standard Linux software. We looked at Android. Problem with Android, it doesn't allow for multiple use application at the same time. The biggest contender was Apple's Mac OS, which is pre-installed on the Apple Macs, which is just another type of PC. But one of the issues we have is installing Macs on standard PCs is the Apple licensing agreement, and they limit their software. It runs fine, but it'd be too much of an issue trying to get around these restrictions. We also looked at OS2, which is great, originally created by Microsoft and it took over by IBM, but even IBM no longer supports OS2. There was a couple of others, React OS, which is an open source implementation of Windows NT, Syllable, which is an open source, and Sky OS, which is proprietary and not open source, but you have to pay for everything just like you do with everything else. The biggest issue we had in challenge here with going with an operating system was not to go with open source because of the technical support. With Microsoft, we can go directly to them. We'd have 24/7 call-in web support, on-site support as needed. And looking at our environment, we broke this down to the hardware and employee profile by department. With 451 employees and just under 300 computers, we're looking at a medium in size, medium-based business operations, and the Microsoft model fits us perfectly. Typically, in justifying why we went this direction, typically a operating system deployment is taken every 3 to 5 years as Microsoft comes up with a new version. In between those versions, we'll have updates. Some of the issues is it normally takes a lot of staff to implement. There is a lot of application compatibility testing to make sure that our applications are going to move forward in the new operating system. There is typically a business and digital disruption. That is continuity of service, continuity with our vendors, with our contractors, and our suppliers. And delivery time frame has always been an issue. Going through this automation process will help benefit this totally. one of the cost benefit analysis that we did was Microsoft commissioned Forrester Consulting Group to conduct a total economic impact study to examine the benefits organizations may realize after implementing Windows 10s. There are quantifying Windows 10 financial benefits. Some of them shown here, and I have references to the Forrester TEI report. But we can look at 188% return on investment in as little as 13 months. Desktop management time savings will be greater than 15%. The deployment time, which used to take a lot of effort, is now down to real simple months, and it's pretty much been automated. The biggest thing we have here is the security benefits and a 33% reduction in security and the issues and time to resolve these things. Some of the other things, key findings out of the Forrester Group is IT management cost savings. We're finding an estimate of 20% improvement in management time as Windows 10s require less IT time to install, manage, and support with the in-place deployment and self-service functions. There's a convenient application for provision and testing with a Windows 10 System Center Configuration Manager. Our organization is able to provide our employees with a self-service tools to find and install application in just a few minutes, where just several hours previously explored. We have reduced security remediation costs and reduced security risk, with new features such as Credential Guard and Device Guard and other existing features now improved or enabled by new software and hardware such as BitLocker. Security events requiring IT remediation are reduced and avoided by 33%. This is a huge cost saving in the manpower by the IT department to support the organization. There are improved employee tools and resources that enable more efficient customer interaction. Again, this is going to be important in sales and in our other departments, where we'll see an increased mobility and improved wake and boot times that our employees just sit and wait and have a couple of cups of coffee. This will improve their productivity. There are also, for the mobile employees that have the laptops or working in our distribution center, they can take advantage of 25% of the time previously unavailable for work, enabling to get done more quickly wherever they may be. There is an improved on retail sales. Sales reps using Windows 10s, particularly our group, can use Windows 10s as one of the many ways to show their commitment to the latest technologies, delivering presentations to generate new sales or protect the existing ones to improve operating margin and several base points. One of the key things I want to mention here is we did a study of all the employees and our vendors, suppliers, and found out that the majority of them are familiar with Windows XP and Windows 7, and some of them are even working with Windows 10 already. So the migration to Windows 10 is going to be easier for them to grasp and take hold of than other operating systems we might look at. Quicker and easier deployments, scaled and compared to earlier upgrades. We're going to look at cost savings, the experience with risk-adjusted costs, the initial planning and implementation costs. Our organization's upfront costs include planning, training, application testing, piloting, and other implementation tasks, as well as some new device purchase costs where we feel that we just don't have it, and we kind of looked at those as the Toshiba laptops. Implementation costs for later deployment rollout. After the initial planning and deployment, more client devices will be updated and or replaced in later years. Other ongoing costs, Windows 10 includes some new features and new structures, more frequent operating system updates. Even though these result in significant overall IT management time savings, they also add some new management task times. Why move to Windows 10? There are increased security benefits to this. Some of them are the Windows Hello capability, which is credential theft, Smart Screen, which allows to block for malicious websites and phishing, Secure Boot, Device Guard, which protects with malware and zero-day viruses, and Credit Card. We also have virtualization-based security. Basically, in a nutshell, VBS makes it very difficult for attackers to mess with core components of the operating system. Virtualization-based security isn't merely an improved defense, it represents an architectural change that vastly reduces the attack surface area and attempts to eliminate the attack vectors themselves. All hacking and malware won't magically go away, but VBS creates a secure environment where select parts of the operating system are less likely to be modified and critical data are less likely to be stolen and reused. Very critical on marketing and our vendors and other suppliers out there. We also have Microsoft Passport is an advanced single sign-on solution that has little to do with Microsoft Passport option for more than a decade ago. Behind the scenes, Passport supports the Open FIDO Alliance and works via public key cryptography. Although you don't need PKI, public key infrastructure, to use it, from behind the scenes technical perspective, it works much like a virtual smart card, but without the need for a separate card or reader. Looking at the Windows 10 compatibility, we've got application compatibility. Majority of the applications, they just work. And this is taken from what we have with the applications today into the migration into Windows 10. We have website compatibility with better and improved Internet Explorer and the Website Edge application. Hardware compatibility, major issue here. Minimum requirements and driver support are built in, and it looks like, based upon our review of the hardware we have here, very little has to change. We'll use the upgrade readiness plan to prioritize and work through application and driver issues, assign and track issue resolution status, and identify computers are ready to upgrade. Upgrade readiness will enable us to deploy Windows with confidence, knowing that we've addressed all the potential blocking issues here at the company. Based on telemetry data from our user computers, upgrade readiness identifies application and driver compatibility issues that may block window upgrades, allowing us to make data-driven decisions about our organization and the different departments' upgrade and their readiness to do so. The information is refreshed daily so we can monitor upgrade progress. Any changes our team makes, such as assigning application importance and making applications as ready to upgrade, are reflected 24 hours after we do this. Our recommendation: we will upgrade all the computers based upon the Microsoft Upgrade Readiness Plan. Perform a top-down upgrade to provide the widest scope possible, along with a bottom-up approach for the deepest focus possible. IT department will perform regression testing with all specialty apps as we find them to verify total functionality. This is key note here that any of these specialty apps we have been modified Microsoft applications. If we were to go with one of the other operating systems, we would have to develop homegrown applications where the technical support, software support would have to come from in-house in our R&D environment or software development embedded with the IT functions. To avoid that, a Microsoft upgrade will provide technical support for hardware and software issues as needed during and after the deployment phase. Microsoft upgrade will avoid training employees on new operating system and applications, like I've explained. The majority of our employees are already using an upgraded Microsoft environment. Our connectivity issues with vendors. as we've reached out to our vendors and found out what they are using, they are also using a Microsoft environment. And we also avoid any import-export issues, as Microsoft has always addressed these with the Export Office of the United States. With the support from Microsoft, we've got the partner support community. Access is unlimited, zero cost technical support as we go through this upgrade to answer any of our questions. We'll also have live chat support. We'll also have cloud support, which is an exclusive technical benefit that provides qualified cloud competency partners, which we are going to be, with elevated level and technical support for selected issues. Technical pre-sales and deployment services. We've already reached out, and from the point we invest in Microsoft, Microsoft is investing in us, to when we begin deploying, all the way through when we have more complex deals and issues with Microsoft, they're going to be there to support us. Assessing the readiness, we have a Windows setup and compatibility scan. Keeping Windows 10 up to date involves deploying a feature, update, and upgrade readiness tools to help us prepare and plan for the Windows update. The latest cumulative patches will be installed on Windows 10 computers to make sure that they require compatibility with all KBs that are installed. Our deployment scenarios, we've gone out on a fact-finding mission, and we've determined whether to perform the upgrade. We've decided out of 3 levels of upgrade to do a level 2 migration flow. This is a one-on-one migration approach. It's information technology. We'll take a classroom style approach to migrate several users at one time. This is taking them in the office or taking them in a classroom and walking them through what features that are new to them, answer any questions, and get them over any hurdles. The light information technology touch will reduce schedule and issues, reducing cost, and also will speed up enterprise-wide migration. The deployment scenarios, we had 4 of them to choose from. Out of the 4, imaging, which is taking out the hard drives and re-imaging them, upgrading them, which is what we're talking about doing, provisioning with the mobile users for off-the-shelf devices, or servicing Windows as a service. We decide we will use the upgrade process for the servers and laptops to support the conversion from a 32-bit OS to 64-bit OS, and that will allow us to take advantage of the 4 gig, beyond the 4 gigabyte RAM limitation that 32-bit OS has. Computer refresh is sometimes called a wipe and load. What we'll do is we will back up all the user data and settings, all the file systems, and they will be restored later after the operating system has been upgraded. Basically, it's start the setup on a running operating system, save to the user state, which is all the files and settings, wipe the hard disk, accept the folder containing the backup of all this data, install the operating system image, install all the other applications, restore the user date. After all that is taken care of, the machine is ready for use. In case it fails, we have a computer replacement program already set up that will allow us to replace the computer, taking the backup of the user and installing it in the new environment. Why upgrade user versus imaging? Preserves the applications, the drivers, user data, and their settings. It's a much quicker build time, and it also allows us to build in rollback in case of certain failures. And we use it to supplement existing deployment scenarios if we have to do a complete re-image or new hardware environment. Here's an example of the Windows Upgrade Analytics, which prepares our environment, tells us how many computers that we have, how many have been upgraded, the assessment of the computers, how many applications, and how many applications reviewed, and we'll get this at on a 24-hour basis. Based on telemetry data from user's computer, the readiness identifies application and driver compatibility issues that may block the Windows upgrade, allowing us to make a fast, data-driven decision about what our organization needs. Information is refreshed daily so we can monitor that upgrade. Management can look in on this, and within 24 hours of any changes made by our team, you'll see it. Any questions? Okay, at that point in time, I'd like to close down this PowerPoint presentation and walk you through what the desktop will look like. This is the Windows 10 environment that we have set up, and we've adjusted it to look more like Windows 7, which we found that a lot of our people are accustomed to working. I'm going to bring up some applications which goes with Windows 10. And what we have here is PowerPoint 10. And one of the first things I'd like to do is show you the technical integration organization chart, where I am the information technology manager and also the cost account manager. So as we go through this, you'll see who our admin support is, our bill of materials administrator, system and software engineering, application and technical integration, and requirement integration. And we break down the business team lead, security team lead, the system administration team, and their contact information. The next thing we'd like to do is open up for our business office. Here's the cost account manager's roles and responsibilities that our business office has established, and they have assigned the cost accounts according to the integrated master schedule. They've established the cost accounting plan and the plan value to work with the budget costed work schedule, BCWS. This is part of the earned value management system that all managers in our company will need to deal with. And part of that is making sure that I find all the files. And here we have Adobe Reader, which shows the earned value management card that all managers are trained in this company. We also have our staffing support file. Boy, this is just which shows here is our staffing environment, the overview as we go through the company, open requisitions, and this is done by our personnel department. We also would like to show you, lastly, the last application and what we use here, and that is the network diagram of the Taters Incorporated here in the city, so you know what we're dealing with and scope. We have our different departments: sales, research and development, main processing, shipping, admin office, finance, facilities, research development, and our shipping receiving dock with the mobile technology out there. So that includes the 5 different applications. We have Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Visio, Adobe PDF, and we also have one more to show you, and that is Mozilla Firefox as an additional application to fulfill the requirements of this program. That's going to, thank you very much.